I understand.
Shame on everybody. On that last play, shame on everybody.
Yeah, I can understand that. All right. Let me get my mic up. Approximate.
Yeah.
Brand, banners, everything looks good. All right, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. And today we're going to go over all right. So we're going to go over that final game of the season for the Indianapolis Colts, go over the season itself, just a real quick kind of, look over the past, look at the Colts, see what we think of how the season ended and our thoughts of the season for the Indianapolis Colts. Donald, I know you was upset, but go ahead. Give me a couple minutes on the one play that you seriously want to talk about.
All right. The last play of the game. Well, the last offensive play of the game, at least. 4th and 1, I have no problem with them going for it on 4th and 1. No problem with it. Actually the play, whether we want to say it was a good play or a bad play call, whatever, it would have been a first down. And
maybe more, depending upon how that block happened with Michael Pittman out there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe more, right? So I'm not disputing the play call. What I'm disputing or what I have a problem with is the decision on who was to get the ball. And when you look at it, Tyler Goodson, 0 yards receiving, 0 receptions, 2 targets. 2 targets. So that one of the targets was that last play of the game. So you mean tell me that we are going to draw up our best play when we got to have it on 4th and 1 to go to the playoffs, extend our season, is going to go to a guy that's had 2 targets or 1 target all game, right? And we're paying a guy $14 million a year, right, who didn't start the season off, and we handsomely rewarded him. We don't give him the ball. We don't find a way to give him the ball. That's okay? That's not okay. Like, we're asking someone, and no disrespect to anybody, and trust me, I get it, but there's levels. There's definitely levels to pro athletes. Hands down. I'm over here knocking my mic over. I'm so fired up, right? I'm over here. But what I'm saying is like there's levels. And if we're going to be quite honest, like I'm paying you to make plays when they count. I'm not paying you to be a stat stuffer. I'm not paying you I'm not paying you just to play football. I'm not paying you for that. I'm paying you for when it's 4th and 1 and it's time to go to the playoffs and you are the guy who we say you are the guy. You should have the football, period. Now, whether it's a pass to him or you hand him the ball, I can live and die with him if he gets the first down, if he doesn't. If he drops the ball, it is what it is. Now we can gripe about why we paying him so much money when it counts. Because this is why we're paying you the money. I'm not paying you the money to be a decoy or not be on the field. And we can argue, is it Tyler's fault or is it Gardner's fault? Well, let's start with the guy who gets the ball first. Let's start with Gardner. Could have been a better throw? 1,000% could have been a better throw. 1,000% it should have been a better throw. So we start right there, right? So we're putting the ball in Gardner's hands on the last play of the game. And I already know I'm going to get all these stupid comments about, I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. This is my opinion. But I guarantee you that there's 85% of people on 56th Street will agree with me, right? So you give Gardner the football, and now he has to make a decision with the football. He doesn't make the best decision with the football. I'm not saying he didn't make the best decision with the football as far as who to throw it to, but how it got there. You got to make the throw. You have got to make that throw. That's number one. You got to make the throw. But number two, Tyler, I'm gonna need you to make the catch too. I'm gonna need you to be good because here's the problem. If you make a professional team, that means you can do what 99.9% of the world can't do. And if you dress right, you're even a smaller percentage of what those guys who are on the sideline with shirts and t-shirts with their chains on and eating sunflower seeds can't do. Right? So I need you to make the play. That's all it comes down to. So yes, Gardner, you got to make the throw. Tyler, you got to make the catch. But excuse my language, because I'm at the end of the day, Jonathan Taylor should have the football. He's the highest paid player on offense. Give him the ball. Give him the ball.
I'll let you get on with it in a moment, but I just got to remind everybody that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, NBA, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device, sign up today, and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. I feel like there's two players that the ball could have went to. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. has been having one hell of a season. He's a guy that everybody's been leaning on all year as well. I mean, Jonathan Taylor just had 188 yards rushing in this game, right? Now, I understand that, that defense is going to be key. If Jonathan Taylor was on the field, defense is going to be keyed on him. Jonathan Taylor was also out of the game for a while due to an ankle issue, right? So, you also had that problem. So Taylor wasn't at 100%, but you still want your best players out there on the field to make those plays when they're available. And Taylor was out there earlier, right? If I remember right, I saw T.Y. Hilton on Twitter going, Jonathan Taylor wouldn't have dropped that. He straight said that, right there. And we could go by shoulda, woulda, coulda, what may have happened, but all we can do is go by what did happen. And the fact, like you said, what did happen was Gardner Minshew threw kind of a bad ball right behind the guy, but it did hit Goodson's hands, both of them, and he should have came up with the football, right? I thought it was just like, I thought it was a well-designed play. I have no problem with the play that was called. I think Shane said it himself, it was there. It just, execution didn't happen, but that play hurt. The very first defensive play of the game hurt. I mean, that took the crowd out, like it took the air out of the crowd, right? How can you give 75 one play? It was like we just spent all that time driving down the field on our offense, eating clock, put points on the board, and then bam, just like that, one play, answer touchdown, right? That is, and everybody, even everyone in the stands knew Nico Collins was their go-to guy in this game. He was their speedster. He's the guy that they've been going to through the air. And why in the world was he one-on-one in a zone coverage, mind you, because it was zone from what I saw, and Nick Cross steps up rather than steps back and watches, it was too late. He looked over, he watched the quarterback throws, and then he's like, oh, and he turns around and he's gone, just gone, right? Made our rookie corner look bad. It deflated the entire game. It was amazing from that point that the Colts even stayed in the game because it felt like the Texans had all the momentum from that point on. The Colts were just trying to stay in it all the way to the end. And credit to them. Credit to the Colts for even being in the spot where they could have won it right there in the final minute of the game, right? And then the bad play happened, that is just bad all the way around. So, but that's how I saw it. Look, Minshew was not pristine at all this game. I mean, he was what? He was like 54% completion percentage, and that's saying something. He had some really bad passes, and there was some drops, so it wasn't all on him. I think I counted 4 or 5 drops by players where it hits their hands, right? Should catch the football. A couple of them, there was a little tighter coverage. Some of them, there wasn't. But either way, if it hits your hands, dead on, you should catch the football, right? And the execution of the offense just wasn't there tonight. Or, well, on Saturday night.
We know what you mean, but at the end of the day, when you have to have it, you got to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And we can pick apart every side of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, but overall, the Colts just didn't have it. Like they just didn't. They didn't. And so this is what I'm saying, and we can make this argument, which makes it even that much of a tougher loss for the Colts, because you let a kid fresh out of college beat you in arguably the biggest game of his career so far.
Mm-hmm.
When it should have been a very uncomfortable game for him, where he should have been rattled, and you guys should have, used what veteran leadership you did have on defense to really bring it to the young quarterback. He looked pretty comfortable back there for the most part of the game. He only got sacked twice. I mean, he had a couple hurries here and there, but for the most part, he was sitting in that pocket, and saying like he wasn't rattled from the beginning, where you saw like he was like a deer caught in headlights. He wasn't that. But what I'm saying is, like, we can go back and look at when I say, like, you need veteran leadership to win, for your team to do well in the playoffs. I don't know how far the Texans will make it with a rookie quarterback. Now, it can happen, right? Guys got to rally around him, play well, blah, 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 blah. But, I just feel like this is a game the coach really should have won because of that one factor of, young coach, hasn't been in these spots yet as a leader. Rookie quarterback, overall a lesser experienced team, right? Yes, they're ascending, but you're on the road to make the playoffs. You mean to tell me that you're a better football team than the Colts overall? Like, I just don't see it. Like, matching up wise, you got some guys they can go, but overall, in my opinion, when the Colts are hitting on all cylinders, like, they shouldn't have lost this game. So, yeah, from the opening play, like, you could tell, like, all right, hands are full. Hands are full on this one because we're making bonehead mistakes the first play of the game already. Like, it can't happen. Like, it just cannot happen.
I'm honestly glad that Shane Steichen realized Jonathan Taylor was running the football well and the offensive line was opening holes for him, and he leaned on that, for the majority of the game. Now the second drive, he came out 3 straight passes, and then punt. But after that, you kind of saw where he was just feeding JT, right? And that's how he got his 188 yards rushing, right? Just fed him, and he break a couple, couple big runs. This is a situation where, in all honesty, now that the season is over with, and I sit back and I look on the past season, I feel like the Colts were, kind of, no, I'm not going to say lucky, but fortuitous to be in the position that they were in the first place. They fought hard all year. They put themselves in that situation. And it came down like it's the last minute of a game to whether or not they were going to win the division legitimately. Not at that point. They didn't know at that point, but that's what that was going to come down to, right? And they did it with so much stacked against them, with the decimation of their secondary all year, the youth, the inexperience, your quarterback going down, different guys having to fill in different spots across both sides of the field, rookie head coach, new offensive line coach, new all sorts of stuff, different schemes, all of this coming in. I feel like for the Indianapolis Colts to finish the season 9-8 and having close games, such close games against quality opponents. I will say that Cleveland was a quality opponent. I think Texans is a quality opponent right now. I mean, they're in the playoffs, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
they've established themselves as one now, right? Like, can't just overlook them anymore.
Exactly. So I feel like, looking forward, I think there's a lot for Colts fans to feel good about. It does suck how the season ended, but I feel like the building blocks are here. There's a lot of guys on the team that need to come back. There's some guys that need, the positions that need to be upgraded, right? But at the same time, that foundation, I feel like, is there, and they're able to build off of that for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the state of a lot of teams, and fortunately, the Colts are in a position to where, like, all is not lost, right? So there's a lot of positive to take from this season. Where, I mean, hell, I'm out, and some of the Colts fans are like, "Well, I'm going to give them 6-7 wins." I'm like, they're going to get 9 wins this year. I think I said that at the beginning of the season. Like, they're a 9-win football team, and where they get 9 wins.
I had 6-9. So
yeah, remember, I said 9. I've always said 9 from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to get 9. They're a 9-win football team. Because I look at the schedule and but whatever. But that's not terrible. Yes, you want to make the playoffs. Yes, you want to win a championship. Yes, all of that. But this is the part of the cycle, right? Like, it's part of the cycle. And if you can end on a good note and take positives from it and know that you're, like, right there from being a playoff contending team every year, like, all right, well, look, all right, it sucks. We got to watch playoffs without our team in it. But there's definitely room for improvement. And, like, it'll only make this team better. Like, what happens at quarterback? We improve. Hopefully we improve, right? Like, this is next year. Honestly, this is going to be, Anthony Richardson's rookie season for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he still doesn't have a year under his belt. Yeah, he has a year of film study, year of experience from watching it live and up close, but being in the game is a complete different animal. Like, it just is what it is. So quarterback is questionable. I think we can get better at tight end for sure. We can upgrade a little bit for help Michael Pittman out at receiver. And then defense, like, I think D-line's pretty stout. We can definitely, get 1 or 2 pieces in the secondary and maybe, another linebacker to help out with EJ and just help out the linebacking core. So there is room for improvement. I think we need a perennial return man. Haven't had one in a while. I think that'll help out, with special teams and in the kicking game. Just people don't realize, like, how important, or people do, but how important field position is. When you can find somebody who can really change the landscape with field position and get you 20, 30 yards every punt return, like, it's nothing, or get you out to the 40 on average on kickoff returns when it's returnable. Like, that's a different, that changes the game.
I think that's what the signing of Isaiah McKenzie was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Kind of, replace the running back that we had traded with Buffalo, Naheem Hines, who was our punt and kick returner, right? And then obviously Isaiah Rodgers, who was suspended for gambling. He was also kick punt returner. So we missed both those guys. I think that's what Isaiah McKenzie was supposed to do. And then next thing you know, he's suspended, right? So apparently nobody is going to want to be a special teams returner for our team in the near future because they'll be afraid of getting suspended for one reason or another.
It's a cursed position. It's a cursed position for sure when you look at the history. I never thought about that. So, but I will say this, like, as offensive linemen, like, when we're coming out for a drive, it's definitely a different psyche when you start on the, like, plus 40 than when you do when you're going back to the 20 or before that. Like, it's a more daunting task.
That we started inside the 10 against the Texans.
Listen, I could not stand standing in the end zone in a huddle. Like, that's like, but if I could be out by the 40, 50, like, I'm like, all we really need is, like, you know what I'm saying, like a good, like little chunk play here and there, and we're going to at least get 3 points out of this thing. Like, you know, it's just a different mindset. So, you know, the Colts, they know what they're doing. I don't know what they're going to do front office wise. I would probably have to say everybody's going to stay intact. Ballard's job is, I guess, safe again this year. So, but then again, like you can kind of see the formula that he's putting together, right? You can kind of see the pieces that he wants to put together. And one thing about it is, like, you don't want to fire him unless you absolutely have to, because now you got a different guy coming in that's going to bring different players in, and you got to start from square one. And he knows the culture of this team. The guy that's going out, you know, next to the guy that's coming in, he's going to change it. It's just a mess. Like, you don't want that. Like, a team that where you need a new GM is a team that is a complete rebuild. That's a different story. Like if you told me like New England went and fired Belichick and then they got a new GM and a new head coach, like they're trying to clean house and change the culture and everything like that. Colts have a culture. Colts have they're on the right path. Just leave it alone. Give them another year to fix this. I think it's not fix. It's just to tweak some things, right? You got a quarterback. Like, let's see if it works. Doesn't work after next year, then it is what it is.
Yep, absolutely. Again, you know, I think we'll have to be a little bit, give a little bit of room, you know, because of Anthony Richardson, right? As you said, basically having his actual rookie season. But I mean, he was in film, you know, the film studies and the walkthroughs and stuff like that. So he's gotten a ton of mental reps. He's gotten to see how a starting NFL quarterback handles himself in a locker room and on the field and stuff like it, following Minshew around with the notepad, right? All season. So there is a lot that he got to learn. Granted, he didn't get to do a lot of playing or throwing or practicing, but you know, he got some mental stuff out of the way. I think that'll help out a ton for him. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Donald, any closing words?
You know, Colts fans, hang in there. It's going to be all right. You know, it's a work in progress. You know, next year is next year, and just, you know, continue to be supportive, right? Just continue to. I know everyone's opinionated. Trust me, I'm a New York Knicks fan, so you know, like, shoot. If anyone gets it, I get it more than you guys, because we haven't won a championship since I've been alive, and that's almost 40 years. So, you know, it's just it's the NFL. It can go either way. You start off on a high, and you know, like you think you're optimistic about rookie quarterback, high draft pick, and then things kind of fall apart, and you still have a season that's still memorable and still you can take positives from. So, look at the silver lining in it all, and just look at we are ahead of where we were slated to be once Anthony Richardson went down. So, you know, till next year, man, with that, you know, rebuild and come back stronger.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online, and as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts, baby.
Do you believe?
All right, I need to work on banners. Because we got Browns, Texans is the first one. At Texans. Now, this first one will be 20 minutes. We'll be talking the AFC games, which are literally the first 3 games on the list, which is nice.
Okay.
Browns, Texans, Dolphins, Chiefs, Steelers, Bills.
All right.
We'll spend about 7 minutes apiece on them. Is that cool?
Yep.
All right. Here, let me get up here to the brand. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Donald Thomas, and today we are going to be discussing the AFC Wildcard matchups. That's right. All 3 games in this Wildcard weekend. We're going to give our opinions about the teams and a little prediction on how we feel like the game will go and score predictions. Donald, how are you doing today?
I can't complain, and if I did, no one cares, so it's all good.
that's yeah, I feel that same way. No one cares how we feel. They just want to know what our picks are going to be. Well, let's start off right off the bat. All right. Give me your thoughts of the Cleveland Browns heading to Houston this Saturday.
Believe it or not, you can argue all you want about the Texans being one of the hotter teams in football, but this Browns team is dangerous. And the reason why I'm gonna have to go with the Browns on this game, honestly, I think that they're going to be the stronger team in this game, and I don't care if they're on the road or not. For one reason is Joe Flacco. I mean, that was probably the most solid pickup that they had all year and off season, to say the least, with signing him off the street. I mean, you got a veteran guy who's done this before. He's been down this path. He's done it for years. Was a proven starting NFL quarterback for a number of years. Was a franchise quarterback. Was one of the first quarterbacks to really break the $100 million contract. And he's just one of those guys that, being his age, albeit upper 30, I think he's like 38 or something like that. Doesn't matter, man. This guy's got experience. He's still got some juice left in the tank. And he's got all those guys in the locker room rallying behind him, and they're playing well. You can see it. There's a rejuvenated team in Cleveland. And as we see it, we're not used to talking about Cleveland like this. So this is crazy to me that I'm even saying this about Cleveland, right? But at the end of the day, Houston still is a very young team, and I think this is where it stops at, unfortunately, for Houston. Now, I could be wrong, but this is how I feel. I feel like, this is one of those games that we talked about before where you can't make mistakes. And so there's no room for rookie mistakes now. This is the playoffs. This is big boy pads, big boy pants. It's time to roll. And I think, just with that being said, I think that Flacco leads Cleveland, brings Cleveland out of Houston with a win.
Wow. Well, before I get into how I feel about the game, I want to remind everybody that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, NBA, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games, available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Absolutely, you was talking about Joe Flacco. You was heavy onto it. It took the Browns 4 quarterbacks and going out and getting somebody off their couch before they found their best quarterback of the year, right? Mm-hmm. Where their offense has been being carried all season long by Myles Garrett and that defense. And I think that is going to be the legit difference in this game, because you talk about Joe Flacco, this defense is nasty. Myles Garrett is nasty. All right. And it's not just Myles Garrett on that defense. They got some corners and some safeties that can do some damage and hold off Nico Collins. Look, outside of Nico Collins in the game against the Colts, what Texan did any damage to the Colts defense? None. Not really. I mean, you had a fullback come out of the backfield and get a touchdown. Okay, you get a trick play. Congratulations. But outside of that, I think this defense, they're so good at pressuring quarterbacks. Stroud is going to be in a situation. Look, if Stroud can handle the pressure in this game and do some of those rollouts that we saw against the Indianapolis Colts week 18, where he rolled out and extended the play and found Nico on a ball that everybody thought he was throwing the football away, and hit Nico for that big, third and super long. If he could do that a few times, I think they have a chance. But outside of that, I feel like the Browns got this, in a brown bag, right?
No pun intended, right?
No, yeah, no. The pun was definitely intended. I got the Browns winning this game 31-17.
Oh, you're saying this is about to be a ass whooping. I mean, that's two scores, but when you get up to over 24, you're putting up points like that. That's a lot of points in football, especially in the NFL. 31 points. To me, I don't care if it's 24-31. you allow them to put up 31 points. So, I see it being a 2-score game. I don't know about 14 points, maybe 10 points. But nonetheless, I just feel like with the Browns defense and Joe Flacco's confidence and his knowledge and his experience, I feel like they will prevail in this game. And so this is one where this is going to be learning experience for Houston. Like, this is one where you don't hang your head after the game. You had a hell of a year. You probably had to have the Coach of the Year award goes to D'Amico. Like, you have to think about all these factors. You're probably up for Rookie of the Year for C.J. Stroud. Like, so there's a lot of positive takeaway, and all you're going to do right now is just hopefully just keep building from there, and don't be like the Rams and go to a Super Bowl, win it, and then become one of the freaking jokes of the NFL.
Right. Let's move on to the next game. We got the Dolphins heading over to Kansas City to face them pesky Chiefs. What are your thoughts about this game?
Wow. Oh, man. Let's take into the account the weather that's supposed to be moving in there. It's supposed to be frigid. It's supposed to be, they're talking about like 0 degrees type cold, like wind chill, like all that. Like, this might be one of them games where the weather might just be the thing that takes out the Dolphins, right? Tyreek Hill has played in this before a number of times. He played there previously, so it's not going to affect the Cheetah, but I don't know how it's going to affect the rest of the team. I remember when I was playing for the Dolphins and we went and played the Chiefs in December, and it was brutal. Guys had icicles hanging from their beards at pregame, right? So wow. we got our butts whipped because of it, because guys were just kind of just like we were in shock with that weather. It was like 80-something degrees when we left Miami. So, but nonetheless, I think that the Chiefs here, the Chiefs teetered and tottered all year with some losses, here and there, but we see it every year when it's time to dial in, when it's time for them to really get it done. Mahomes gets it done, and hopefully he stays healthy, but I really feel like the Chiefs are going to pull this one out. I think the Dolphins had a great run this year. I think the Chiefs win by at least 10 points or more.
Look, both these teams are 11-6, and both these teams have their problems, right? Dolphins went on a few game slides as of late with the Hill and other players, injured or just gone, right? Like they're one of their main pass rushers, I believe Chubb, right, is gone. I think he's still gone for the season, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, and then of course the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is throwing to a bunch of guys that have their hands in the butter jar before the game, right? And so you're seeing a lot of that, and if they're dropping passes in good weather, imagine what it's going to be like trying to catch the ball, like you said, when the ball itself is below freezing. It's almost impossible to hold on to that football, right? Yeah. So if it's going to be this cold, it's going to be a lot of short, quick passes and a lot of running the football, and who's going to want to play physical in that. And I'm kind of with you on that. I think that the Chiefs right now are a bit more of a physical team. They changed that when they, moved on from Tyreek. They changed their they tried to become more of a physical team, defensively and offensively, to try to help with, the weather situation, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't want to solely just put this on the weather, right?
No.
But I'm just saying, like, experience-wise, and I know you're not saying that either, but just experience-wise, I think overall, physicality, and just experience, like guys understanding that how to get it done and understanding like the mistakes we made to make us 11-6. We can't have those same mistakes and think we're going to win a playoff game, right? And so I think Kelsey steps up big. I think the running game, Pacheco steps up big. I think Mahomes steps up even bigger. And I think that defense with Chris Jones and those boys, I think they play lights out. And, but here's the deal. Like, Dolphins have a good D-line. I think Dolphins have a pretty solid offensive line too. So it's going to be, we'll see. Like, whoever can weather the storm in this cold is going to be the team that prevails. Seriously. Like, I know, like, for a fact, like, when it gets physical, when it's cold like that, it gets to be physical, but it's just like it wears on you a lot quicker than it does when it's hot, believe it or not.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that's going to be a little tighter than what the game that I called the first one. I'm looking more like a 21-17.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
What you were looking at.
I can see a 21-17 and then like a late score at the end to ice the whole deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just put it to bed. That's why I said, 10 points, but we'll see, man. I don't think it'll be a blowout just because of how cold it's going to be. But I just feel like the Chiefs are going to make less mistakes. But we could be wrong, right? It's playoff football. Like we've seen some of the craziest things in playoff football.
Oh, absolutely. And like you say, I mean, like I said earlier, the Chiefs receivers can't catch the football, then they're not winning the game. So, but I feel like they'll, like you said, this is a game it's time. It's time. Everything's on the line. The season's on the line. I think they'll come up big.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next game, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Amazingly, both these teams shot week 18. Steelers made it into the playoffs. Bills took the division. In week 18. I mean, my goodness. Now, that's pretty darn impressive in my opinion.
I always said, who is my Super Bowl contender out of the AFC from week 1? I said this. Mm-hmm. It's the Buffalo Bills. It's over for the Steelers. I don't know how long Mike Tomlin has left in Pittsburgh. I don't know what kind of dirty pictures he's got on somebody, how he's still coaching after these years as a head coach. You're not winning in Buffalo. Now, here's the playoffs. It can get crazy, but you're not. This team heated up when they have heated up at the right time and got consistently better. My problem is this. They are turnover prone. And as good as Josh Allen is, he turns the ball over. I think he had 2 picks and a fumble last game, right? Like, if my memory serves me correct, you can't make those mistakes in the playoffs and expect to win. So I'm leaving the door open here, right? But Tony the tow truck driver in Buffalo and all his mates are going to be at this game. I remember when we played. When I was playing for the Dolphins. Our O-line coach he's from Boston, Italian dude from Boston, Dave De Guglielmo, we call him Googe. And Googe was saying, listen, I'm telling you right now, Buffalo, it's different in Buffalo. I'm telling you right now, they hate the Dolphins, and I'm telling you, Tony the tow truck driver is gonna go. He's gonna clock out from work and park the tow truck four blocks down and walk to the stadium, and then he's gonna watch the game and go back to towing trucks outside. Like, I'm just telling you right now, like, they live this, they breathe this. It's a different place. Like, and it is. It's Buffalo's different. If you've never been to Buffalo, they live and die with their Bills, and this is everything for them, and this is big. And the Bills are back in the playoffs. And they're going to ride out with them, and it's going to be electric in that stadium. I don't care. It could be a freaking nor'easter snowstorm with 3 feet of snow, and it's still going to be sold out. Right?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Steelers look a little bit better on offense with Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
Oh, 100%. Mason Rudolph is better than Kenny Pickett. Like, I don't know what allegiance they have to Kenny Pickett where they're trying to justify a draft pick, but I'm going to tell you right now, Mason Rudolph should have been starting quarterback this whole season, and Kenny Pickett should have been the one that was just ready to go at a minute's notice, because this kid came back in and shut everybody up. Now, granted, yes, they are playing better with Mason, but I just don't see them winning this football game.
I hear you. Najee Harris has not been the guy that
all year
expected him to be this year. It's been Jalen Warren's show over in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. They just this is just a team that surprised everybody about even getting in the playoffs. This is a team who I just didn't think I was giving them like 7-8 wins on the season, and they just squeak into the playoffs. I get it. Hats off to you for doing that, but it's over. You got Buffalo. You got, in my opinion, the hottest team in the playoffs right now.
I'm not going to put it past Mike Tomlin's defense to create, as you talked about, turnovers. That's the thing, getting pressure on Josh, creating turnover. This defense is built around pressure and turnovers, and they're good at it and have been good at it all year. We were talking about Cleveland. earlier, and their defense and what they've done. And they've carried the team. This defense has done the exact same thing for Pittsburgh, right? They've carried this team on, pressure on quarterbacks and getting turnovers. And look, I would like to see Pittsburgh win. In all honesty, I don't think they're going to. Just because, look, we just saw another team that was defense heavy, that the defense was supposed to carry the team, and had a defensive-minded head coach that's been there for 6 years. Mike Tomlin's been there longer, but over with the Titans, and he got fired, right? First off, I don't think he should have been fired. I think that was a dumb mistake by the owner. But I think getting rid of Mike Tomlin would be kind of dumb too. All right, that's my own personal opinion. I feel like if he wins at least one game in the playoffs this year, he's guaranteed to stick around. Right? That's how I feel about it. I don't think it happens though. I'm with you on the Buffalo thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you come from the success that you had before, where you won, we had a Hall of Fame quarterback, you won Super Bowls, yada yada yada, and now we go from that to this. I get it, right? I get there's a transition, there's a grace period, there's all of that, but they just don't play like how they used to play. They're not the Steelers of old. They don't have that juice. They're not physical like they used to be. They don't have that potent offense with those high octane playmakers anymore. They just been lacking that for a number of seasons now. And I just feel like right now, it might be a situation like Houston where you get like some new, fresh blood in at the head coaching position to kind of refuel these guys. But I could be wrong. Here's my thing: I just want the Pittsburgh Steelers to lose solely because my ex-wife is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm just gonna go out and say that. That's one of the main reasons why I want them to lose, because I know she. Shut up. But no, seriously, everything I said about who I think should win, I think
so you got to kind of rub it in their face when the Colts beat them.
Unfortunately, we don't communicate. We don't talk like that about anything besides
our
children. But I'm like, yeah, they lost. Yeah, take that one. Have a good night. Yeah, but yeah, I see this being a not a blowout, but this is going to be, I feel like a 3-4 point game.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a blowout. It really depends upon how the Steelers defense hangs with this Buffalo offense, because Buffalo over the last month has found their run game for the first time since Josh Allen has been there.
Yeah.
Right. And that makes this team very, very scary, and they found it at the right time when they didn't even think that they were even good. They were below 500 at one point this season, right? Just not too long ago, and then went on this run to make the playoffs. So, and a lot of that is relying on Cook back there at running back and other guys. So not just Josh Allen, So
yeah, your lead rusher cannot be your quarterback unless you're Lamar Jackson.
Unless you're Lamar Jackson. And even then, that's not a good thing.
No, I mean, you're holding your breath every time he runs with the ball, so it's not a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like look, both these teams know how to play in bad weather anyhow. And it's probably going to be snowing like nasty.
Yeah.
So I still feel like this is a game. It'll be in the 20s. It'll probably be something like 25 to. This legitimately could be a 1-point game, 25-24.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
So we'll see what happens. I do expect probably 4 turnovers total in this game between both teams.
I hope it's not like that, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Well, hey, I think that's going to do it for this episode where we went over the AFC for the playoffs of the wild card round. Check us out on the other episode where we talk about the NFC matchups. And this will do it for myself as Lawrence Owen, Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, have a good one.
Peace.
Do you believe?
Trying to cut him down. All right.
We're doing good. We got 2 shows in 44 minutes. That's not bad.
No, I'm trying to cut him at 20.
Keep rolling. Let's get it.
Yeah, I got to edit the team here to get it started up. First one's what? Green Bay at Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a freaking joke.
Then you got Rams, Lions. That's the one right there, baby. And then you got Eagles and Bucks. I just want the Eagles to lose so we can just get that out of the fucking way. God damn.
They
I'm
are
tired of talking about that
right now.
It is just the worst thing to watch. The fact of the matter is that they solidified their playoff spot so early in the season by winning, going 10-1. That I mean, how do you lose 5 games and then it's such a joke?
All right. Here we go. Brand 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. And today, on this specific episode, we are going over the NFC Wildcard weekend matchups. That's right. We are going to go over each of the 3 games, talk about the teams, and make our predictions for the games. Donald, man, what do you think about the NFC this year?
Oh, man, strong. NFC strong this year. But it's kind of one of those things where it kind of went from being like a 3-team race to really a 2-team race, in my opinion. You might have like a dark horse with someone that's going to try to creep in there. But for the most part, I'm not going to discredit Detroit. I just don't know how far they can go and really beat one of these strong teams late in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. So we'll see. But I don't want to get off topic yet. But it's interesting to see like the way Philly has just kind of, I don't know what happened to them. None of they're so we'll get into it. But NFC's been an interesting conference to watch nonetheless.
Oh, definitely. They've had some ups and they've had some downs. They've had teams that went on big runs, and then every one of the teams have had at least a 3-game slide, right? I mean, it's crazy to watch what happens. Some of these teams go out and beat each other and then end up losing to a team like the Cardinals, right? It'll be interesting to talk about that in just a moment. But before I do, I want to remind everybody that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, NBA, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device today to sign up and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Packers at Cowboys. Is this going to be a good game to watch? I'm just curious.
As painful as it pains me, as painful as it just I think Green Bay has shown signs of playing well this year. I think Love is a very talented quarterback. I feel like he's a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, in my opinion. When he gets down, he's down on himself, and his confidence goes down. He doesn't play well, but then he will have explosive plays, and he'll have games where he's riding a high. But 9-8 is mediocre. 9-8 is middle of the road, and this Dallas team is elite at home. And they've proven that all year. So very difficult for Green Bay to go into Dallas, a playoff game, and beat them. Now, if that happens, and I pray that it does happen, that Green Bay does go into Dallas and beats Dallas in this wild card game, I'm going to love rubbing it in all these Cowboy fans' faces. I'm gonna have my text messages and my memes and everything loaded up, ready to go. But I don't see that happening here this first round of the playoffs. I think Dallas easily takes down Green Bay by at least 2 scores or more.
Wow. You talk about hoping that the Packers win. My late father, who passed away beginning of the year last year, has a hat collection that I just went through. This is where this came from. Probably half of the hat collection is Green Bay Packers hats. That was his team. That's the team that he rooted for. So I'm going to root for Green Bay in this playoffs just because, for my late father.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to win. To me, Green Bay is the NFC's version of Pittsburgh Steelers from the AFC. How they made it in the playoffs is beyond me. It was just somebody had to fill the spot, and they were there. That's kind of how it looks. I'm sorry to Green Bay Packers fans. Look, you got some guys on your team that make it look as though there could be a nice future for the organization, but I just don't feel like it's there quite yet. You haven't really shown me that you can go out to, say, Dallas, like you talked about, and win in their house. Maybe you could do it to Detroit, but your divisional rivals, right? Go and do it to, a team like Dallas or San Fran or something like that. That's going to be something that would be very, very impressive, especially in the playoffs. I got the Cowboys winning probably by 13, I'd say. We're going to go 27-14.
Fair enough. I'm feeling that. I think it could be even worse, to be honest with you. I don't see them being able to hang tough with them for the most part. I think that they're going to be it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be bad. I think that this round Cowboys will look dominant. Besides that, when they got to go on the road the following week, the story will change.
All right. Well, with that being said, I guess we move on to what I feel like is probably going to be the better game, the best game of the NFC, and that's the Rams at the Lions. The Rams have been kind of on a tear as of late, the last month or so. I remember mid-season we were like, the Rams ain't making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look very good. Matt Stafford wasn't throwing well, but they got some guys over there, right? There's this young rookie, this Puka Nacua looks pretty darn solid over there with the rest of that offense, and the defense is just doing enough in order to do what they need to do. And then of course then there's the Lions. The Lions, the team that not only took their division but done so in a commanding fashion. This is the best Lions team I can remember ever, and that's including teams that had Megatron and Barry Sanders, right? I mean, and not knocking either one of those guys. Barry Sanders, in my opinion, is best running back in NFL history. All right, that I have watched. I've got him and then Walter Payton, that I have watched.
You ain't that old.
Oh, yeah. I was born in 76, man.
Oh, ooh. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I'm a bicentennial baby. But look, overall, this team has got an offense and they have a defense for the Lions. And they've got a no-nonsense head coach that will just wants his team to go out there and just be more physical than the other team. Mm-hmm. And they've got key playmakers on both sides of the field, especially at key positions like wide receiver, like, quarterback, like pass rush, right? And that they're at their top of their game right now. And as much as I like the Rams and their comeback this year, I feel like I feel like the Lions should win this game. I really do.
You said everything that I was going to say. Here's the biggest storyline. So the biggest storyline, in my opinion, is the quarterback stories, the back stories. Right? Stafford's been, was trapped in Detroit for all those years, and they were terrible. Hell, I was there with them for a year when we were god awful as well. But I always knew Matt Stafford was an elite quarterback. I always said it. I used to watch him practice in games. He was throwing to a Hall of Fame receiver. We had talented guys around him. We just couldn't put it together as a team. He was a talented quarterback
not the best leader. Right. And so when you have the best player on your team or one of the best players on your team or the most influential player on your team is not the leader, this can be a problem, especially when he has the ball every time the offense has the ball and he is the voice of the whole team. He's got to be a leader too. And he wasn't that when I was there. No disrespect to him. He just wasn't the leader that we needed to have. Jared Goff, on the other hand, is a talented quarterback. Young, who I felt like didn't get a fair shake or get the full all the chances or get all the time to develop before he was discarded, right? Before he was traded or let go, shipped to Detroit. And it was kind of like a slap in his face, like, we're going to ship you to Detroit. You're going to go from LA. You're going to go, you know what I'm saying? Like you're going from LA to Detroit. Like that is a huge shock within itself. You're like, yo, you really discard me. You're sending me down here for my career to die. Right. Yeah. Like you're just like, whatever. So like on one hand, Matt Stafford's coming back to Detroit to show he can play football, which we all know he can. So the storyline isn't about Stafford coming back to Detroit to play, blah, 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 playoff. It ain't that. It's the fact that Jared Goff is about to show y'all why you guys shouldn't have got rid of me and why we're 12-5 and why we're one of the hottest teams in football and why we're about to make this Super Bowl run. That's the real story, in my opinion, right? And the fact is you hit the nail on the head. Dan Campbell's going to have these guys playing physical, ready to play football. But the thing that makes the determining factor between the two coaches is one's been in the league and he's done it. One's actually played. He's actually been in the league. He knows what it takes. The other's been around football his whole life, right? We know the storyline, but he's been coaching forever. He grew up on his dad was a coach, yada, yada, yada. He was on the NFL sidelines as a ball boy. You name it, moved up the ranks, we get it. But it's a difference when you can have experience on what you're preaching. It's a difference. Now, granted, they won a Super Bowl. LA. He knows what it takes to get there. But what I'm telling you is when you got 53 guys that believe in everything that you say and you got them juiced up and you come from a hard-nosed city like Detroit and those guys know how much that this means to these fans and what they're playing for, Detroit's going to be electric. It's going to be crazy. Energy's going to be through the roof. Yeah. I think that negates everything that we just talked about with LA. Like, I think they come out and they put it to them. I think the Rams got hell to pay. And if they don't understand that right now, it's too late. It's too late.
The only problem that I see is, there's not a lot of guys on this Lions team that have a lot of playoff experience, but you got Goff, who has been, he's got a history with that whole situation, right?
Yeah.
With the playoffs. So, but like you said, it comes down to the leaders, making sure that everybody on that team is ready. The Rams have been there, done that, right? Recently. So they know what it takes to win a playoff game. The Lions are that they're going to have to step up and it's really going to be on that head coach and Jared Goff to make sure that everybody is in the right mindset, no matter what happens in this game. If Matt Stafford hits Puka for a 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game,
you're calling it.
Don't give up. Go out there and fight tooth and nail, bite some kneecaps, get back in the game, right? Mm-hmm. And there is a guy on the defense on the Lions who's ready to do exactly that. That's Aiden Hutchinson. Matthew Stafford has got to have an eye on him the whole game.
I mean, this is like the first time ever that you have been on point. I mean, I got nothing else to say. I mean, you're I agree. Like I am in full agreement with what you're saying. Like, no, for real. Like you're like these points that you're making. Like this is the marquee game. This is like the best game of Wildcard weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like this is a good game here. This is a good game here because I want to see really how Dan Campbell's going to have this team playing in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
The fact that they're a wild card team bothers me,
But it is what it is. It's just how the playoffs are set up because I feel like they're, if not the number 2 team in the NFC right now, it's arguable, right? They're not better than San Fran, but like, I think they're better than Dallas because they can win on the road. Dallas can't win on the road. Like, whatever. We won't go that deep into it, but I'm just saying, this is a good game right here.
What's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 24-17 Lions.
17-12 Lions.
Okay.
All right. We both got the same game so far. For the most part, I think we've picked everyone right the same this so far. That's rare.
Yeah.
Trust me, that's rare. Last game on the docket, last game of the week, and we got Monday Night Football coming back as the Philadelphia Eagles, who at week 11 looked like an unstoppable team, right? Is now heading to Tampa Bay, who at week 11 you didn't think was even going to make the playoffs, and now here we are, and we got this is an interesting situation, man. First off, the Eagles even having to travel is like what they had. They had one loss in week 11 or week 12, I think it was. I'm like, what in the world? And now that they've lost 5 of their last 6, right? I mean, my goodness, man. What are your initial thoughts to this game?
Like I said, I personally just want to see the Eagles lose so we can stop talking about the Eagles for this year. No team, I don't feel like they deserve to be in the playoffs the way that they played the last, quarter of the season. I'm just over it. I feel like if a team is supposed to be a contender, win a Super Bowl, or at least win the NFC, that you don't have a huge drop off like this. Teams get better as the season goes. Teams don't get worse as the season goes. So, like, all this talk about we know where we're at, who we are, we know what we have to do, we know what needs to be done, we know, like, when it comes down. Like, no, you wouldn't have lost them games if you guys knew what the hell you guys were doing. You're not. No one's going out there and just tanking football games. I always said, like, all them wins when they were 10-1, they were very close. Like, they were ones where they had to come back at the end, or they're fighting a team off from coming back and beating them at the end. Like, it was never just blowout. Oh, this is the 10-1 football team. Like, look out! Like, the only team that beat them was San Francisco. Like, oh, they're definitely the number 2 team in the league. Like, it wasn't that. So, like, I'm over it. Now, can Tampa Bay beat the Eagles? If you look at them on paper, no. But like I said, though, from week 1 back, if you guys have been listening to us, I've said I am a Baker Mayfield fan. And this is why Tampa Bay went out and found a veteran quarterback that still had juice in the tank, that still has proven that he can win some football games. And quite frankly, he ain't scared. And we know Baker's not scared. So Baker's going to go out there and play Baker Mayfield football. It's going to be inspired. Tampa Bay is going to be fired up down there on a Monday night. I'm excited to see how they do. For the sake of good TV, I'm saying Tampa Bay shocks Philly, but in reality, they're not shocking Philly. This is a team that's just going to play better than Philly. Philly's going to find a way to lose, like, because they've been losing all these games. They've been finding ways to lose. Like, should they have won these games? Absolutely. But they're not winning football games, and you can't go in the playoffs, limping in the playoffs, and expect to all of a sudden just flip a switch and turn it on, and here you go. Now we're fighting to get to the Super Bowl. It don't work that way. So this team is descending at the wrong time of the season, and they don't deserve to be, have a bye or be 1 or 2 seed in the NFC. And they're right where they're supposed to be, and they're right where they're supposed to be with losing in the wild card round and going home. So that's what it is for me.
I think the 2 main storylines is, look, a lot of people want to talk about Hurts in this offense and the fact that, Shane Steichen's missing. You can see the difference. Look, my question is, what happened to what was supposed to be the most dominant defensive line in football?
Yep.
Right? What happened to that? Because that was legitimately what they were called from the get-go. It was like they went out and got everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And then when mid-season, the Colts let a certain former all-pro linebacker, they went and got him too, You know, they're getting everybody, and yet the defense is still having their issues, right? So what's going on with the Philly defense?
Did he upgrade the defense when he got there? Did they win? How many more games did they win once he got there? So anyway, I knew that was a joke. A lot of people said I was a hater and all that kind of stuff, but whatever. I know what I'm talking about. But the defense has disappeared. Like I even said, they had one of the best D lines in football, if not the best D line in football from across the board. And like these dudes are null and void. Like you can't be the best D line in football, and you lost 5 out of 6 games at the end of the season.
And now they're going up against a guy who had 4,000 yards passing, almost 65% completion percentage, and had a 28-10 touchdown interception ratio on the season. Baker Mayfield has actually done a really good job over there in Tampa.
In Baker, we trust. Yep. And I'm entrusting Baker to get a win in the playoffs, right? And continue to move into the divisional round. I'm going Tampa Bay here. I'm going to say, I'm going Tampa Bay. 1,000%. I'm going Tampa Bay. I'm not giving it to the Eagles. Eagles don't deserve to win. They're not going to win the football game. They ain't going to just flip a switch, like I said. Tampa Bay wins this football game. It's going to be a tight one, but I'm saying at least 7 points. Boom.
This is a tough one for me. I get where you're coming from, but this is a tough one for me because I feel like the Eagles should win this game. But all your points and the points that I made are just like hovering there going, dude, you know what to go with. You know?
Yeah, so just do it. Follow your heart. Don't do it. Lawrence, look at me. Come on, man. You know who's supposed to win this football game. Make the right decision.
But we picked the same teams.
It doesn't matter. We know what we're talking about. We don't have to go against me just because.
That's fair enough. Watch Billy end up pulling this out. That'd be so messed up.
I know. I know, man. I know. This is the one we put all this emphasis I talk the most crap about, and watch Philly come out and trounce Tampa Bay.
I know, right? I mean,
go ahead. No. You pick Tampa. I don't want to influence your decision. Go ahead, pick them.
I'm gonna go with Tampa, but I think it's gonna be a really tough game. I think it's gonna come down to the wire. This is gonna be a 3-point game. It's gonna be something like 27-24 or something like that. You know, it might not even be that high. It might be like a 21-18 game. Yeah. I don't know how you're going to get 18, but yeah. There's a lot of field goals in that equation. 6 of them sons of guns.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really tight game. But I feel like right now, you know, the Bucs are just playing better football, right?
Everybody's playing better football than Philly. Let's be clear. Everybody besides Carolina Panthers, the last 6 weeks of the season have played better. Think about it. No, seriously, think about it. No, everybody's you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's played better than Philly. So that's a fair statement. But everybody has, except for Carolina.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what are we saying here? Like I get it. You make the playoffs off of your record. You make the playoffs because of, you win in your division, all those things, right? But in scenarios, you squeak in, you beat this team, the other team lost, all that. But what I'm saying is everyone has played better than the Eagles. At the wrong time of the season, are you playing your worst football? You ain't going to just flip a switch and turn it on. You'd have been turning on when you had a 2-game slide. Whoa. Let's fix this.
Yep.
We done lost 2 games. We can lose 1, but 2 games in a row. This is crazy.
Yep.
And then y'all win a game, and then you proceed to lose all the rest of them.
Well, I think we've come to the end of this episode. Please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video talking about the rest of the NFL, this NFL playoff season. And if you're listening to this onto an audio podcast, make sure you leave a review. We appreciate it a ton. I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, have a good one.
Peace.
Do you believe?